Welcome to Inspire and Success. Today, we're counting down our picks for the top 25 most expensive movies ever made in cinema history. Have you ever wondered how much money is spent on the production of your favorite box office hits? Most of these films have extravagant budgets that can even exceed $100 million US, from the multi-million-dollar salaries of the cast and crew to the cost of marketing, CGI, and post-production.
You're not brave. Men are brave.
Additionally, superhero and fantasy films with a star-studded cast that includes A-list actors frequently rank among the most expensive films ever made. But before that, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for more amazing content. Let's start the video now without further delay. Number 25, The Dark Knight. The movie, directed by Christopher Nolan and released in 2008, had a budget estimated to be around $185 million.
Being abducted, I was sitting in Gordon's cage. No, I didn't rig those charges.
However, due to the complex marketing campaigns and other expenses, the total cost might have been higher. In terms of box office performance, The Dark Knight was a massive success. It grossed over $2.4 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing films of all time. It was particularly praised for Heath Ledger's portrayal of the Joker, which earned him a posthumous Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Number 24, X-Men: The Last Stand. The movie, directed by Brett Ratner and released in 2006, had an estimated budget of around $210 million, making it one of the most expensive films ever made at the time of its release. In terms of box office performance, the film was also successful, grossing over $460 million worldwide. While it was commercially successful, it received mixed reviews from critics and audiences, particularly due to some creative choices that deviated from the source material and previous films in the franchise. Number 23, The Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. The movie, directed by Andrew Adamson and released in 2008, had an estimated budget of around $225 million.
I knew it was you. The whole time I knew it. But the others didn't believe me.
And why would that stop you from coming to me?
In terms of box office performance, the film grossed approximately $419 million worldwide. While it was commercially successful, it didn't perform as well as its predecessor, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which had a higher box office gross. Despite this, Prince Caspian still garnered a mixed reception from critics and audiences. Number 22, Fast and Furious 7. Also known as Furious 7, directed by James Wan and released in 2015, had an estimated budget of around $250 million.
Cars don't fly! Cars don't fly! Oh, shit!
In terms of box office performance, the film was a massive success, grossing over $1.5 billion worldwide. It became one of the highest-grossing films of all time at the time of its release. This installment of the Fast and Furious franchise was particularly notable, as it was the last film to feature Paul Walker, who tragically passed away during the production. Number 21, Spider-Man: No Way Home. The movie, directed by John Watts and released in December 13, 2021, it's estimated to have a budget exceeding $200 million, considering its extensive visual effects and star-studded cast.
Hello, Peter.
In terms of box office performance, Spider-Man: No Way Home has been a massive success. It has grossed over $1.9 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing films of all time. The film's success can be attributed to its highly anticipated storyline, bringing together multiple iterations of Spider-Man from different cinematic universes, as well as its critical acclaim and positive reception from audiences. Number 20, Solo, a Star Wars story. The movie, directed by Ron Howard and released in 2018, had an estimated budget of around $275 million, including reshoots and marketing costs.
I hope you're still paying attention, because now I'm going to tell you the most important.
In terms of box office performance, Solo, a Star Wars story, grossed approximately $393 million worldwide. While it was profitable, it fell short of expectations for a Star Wars film, leading to speculation about franchise fatigue and other factors. Despite its box office performance, the film received mixed reviews from critics and audiences. Number 19, Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. The movie, directed by Zack Snyder and released in 2016, had an estimated production budget of around $250 million. However, when factoring in marketing and distribution costs, the total budget likely exceeded $300 million. In terms of box office performance, grossed approximately $873 million worldwide. While the film was financially successful, it received mixed reviews from critics and audiences, with some praising its visuals and action sequences, while others criticized its pacing and storytelling choices. Number 18, Avatar. The movie, directed by James Cameron and released in 2009, had an estimated production budget of around $237 million. However, with additional costs for marketing and distribution, the total budget for the film is estimated to be well over $300 million.
Let's dance.
In terms of box office performance, Avatar became the highest-grossing film of all time, grossing over $2.9 billion worldwide. Its groundbreaking visual effects and immersive 3D experience contributed to its massive success, making it a cultural phenomenon. Number 17, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest. The movie, directed by Gore Verbinski and released in 2006, had an estimated production budget of around $225 million. In terms of box office performance, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest was highly successful, grossing approximately $1.6 billion worldwide. It became one of the highest-grossing films of all time at the time of its release and was the highest-grossing film of 2006. Its success solidified the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise as a major blockbuster series. Number 16, Waterworld. The movie, directed by Kevin Reynolds and starring Kevin Costner, was released in 1995. At the time of its release, it was one of the most expensive films ever made. The estimated production budget for Waterworld was around $175 million.
My boat's tore up. I'm taking on water.
In terms of box office performance, Waterworld faced significant challenges. It grossed approximately $264 million worldwide. While this figure might seem substantial, it wasn't enough to cover the film's massive budget and extensive marketing costs. Waterworld struggled to break even and was considered a commercial disappointment, despite its later success in home video sales and rentals. Number 15, John Carter. The movie, directed by Andrew Stanton and released in 2012, had an estimated production budget of around $250 million. Additionally, the marketing costs were significant, bringing the total budget for the film to over $300 million. In terms of box office performance, John Carter grossed approximately $284 million worldwide. While this might seem like a substantial figure, it fell short of expectations and failed to recoup its massive budget and marketing expenses. The film was considered a commercial disappointment for Disney and led to significant financial losses for the studio. Number 14, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. The movie, directed by David Yates and released in 2009, had an estimated production budget of around $250 million. This figure includes production costs as well as marketing and distribution expenses.
Please let me help you.
I don't want your help. Don't you understand? I have to do this.
In terms of box office performance, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince grossed approximately $934 million worldwide. It was one of the highest-grossing films of 2009 and the second highest-grossing film in the Harry Potter series at the time of its release. The film's commercial success further solidified the popularity and financial viability of the franchise. Number 13, Fast X. The movie, directed by Louis Leterrier and released in May 12, 2023, had an estimated production budget of around $340 million. This figure includes production costs as well as marketing and distribution expenses.
Now we
Your dad in a street race?
Is the latest installment in the Fast and Furious franchise. The film stars Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Chris "Ludacris" Bridges, and Jason Statham. In terms of box office performance, Fast X grossed approximately $714 million worldwide. Despite the mixed reviews, Fast X managed to entertain fans and grossed a significant amount worldwide. Number 12, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. The movie, directed by Rian Johnson and released in 2017, had an estimated production budget of around $317 million.
Empty. They're just trying to pull our attention away. Pathetic. Keep your fire on the transports.
In terms of box office performance, Star Wars: The Last Jedi grossed approximately $1.3 billion worldwide. While the film was a commercial success, it received mixed reactions from fans and critics, with some praising its bold storytelling choices, while others criticized certain aspects of the plot and character development. Nonetheless, its box office success solidified the continuing popularity of the Star Wars franchise. Number 11, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The movie, directed by Mark Webb and released in 2014, had an estimated production budget of around $293 million. In terms of box office performance, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 grossed approximately $758 million worldwide. While it performed reasonably well at the box office, it fell short of expectations set by the studio and didn't perform as strongly as its predecessor. Mixed reviews from critics and audiences contributed to its somewhat underwhelming performance compared to previous Spider-Man films. Number 10, Avatar: The Way of Water. The movie, directed by James Cameron and released in December 6, 2022, had an estimated production budget of around $360 million.
This is our home!
He had our children. He had them under his knife.
It received generally positive reviews from critics, who praised the visual effects and technical achievements, but criticized the plot and lengthy runtime. In terms of box office performance, Avatar: The Way of Water grossed approximately $2.3 billion worldwide. While it performed reasonably well at the box office, it fell short of expectations set by the studio and didn't perform as strongly as its predecessor. Mixed reviews from critics and audiences contributed to its somewhat underwhelming performance compared to previous Avatar: The Way of Water films. Number 9, Avengers: Infinity War. The movie, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and released in 2018, had an estimated production budget ranging from $316 million to $400 million, including marketing and distribution costs. In terms of box office performance, Avengers: Infinity War grossed over $2.5 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing films of all time. It became the fourth film to cross the $2 billion mark and was the highest-grossing film of 2018. The film's massive success was due to its culmination of the Marvel Cinematic Universe storylines and the anticipation built over multiple preceding films. Number 8, Titanic. The movie, directed by James Cameron and released in 1997, had an estimated production budget of around $200 million, which made it one of the most expensive films ever made at the time.
Well, right now my address is the RMS Titanic. After that, I'm on God's good humor.
In terms of box office performance, Titanic became a massive success, grossing over $2.2 billion worldwide. It held the record for the highest-grossing film of all time for more than a decade, until it was surpassed by Cameron's own film, Avatar, in 2009. Titanic was a cultural phenomenon, receiving critical acclaim and winning numerous awards, including 11 Academy Awards, tying with Ben-Hur, 1959, for the most Oscars won by a single film. Number 7, Avengers: Endgame. The movie, directed by Anthony and Joe Russo and released in 2019, had an estimated production budget ranging from $356 million to $400 million, including marketing and distribution costs.
Back where they came from.
No way to get him back. Thanos destroyed the quantum tunnel.
Hold on.
In terms of box office performance, Avengers: Endgame grossed over $2.8 billion worldwide, making it the highest-grossing film of all time, surpassing Avatar. The film's monumental success was a result of its culmination of the Marvel Cinematic Universe's storylines and the anticipation built over more than a decade of interconnected films. Avengers: Endgame received widespread critical acclaim and became a cultural phenomenon upon its release. Number 6, Pirates of the Caribbean: At World's End. The movie, directed by Gore Verbinski Zelensky and released in 2007, had an estimated production budget of around $300 million. This included the costs of both production and marketing.
Weapons!
In terms of box office performance, the film grossed approximately $963 million worldwide. While it was a financial success, it did not perform as well as its predecessor, Pirates of the Caribbean: Dead Man's Chest, at the box office. Nevertheless, it was one of the highest-grossing films of 2007 and contributed to the overall success of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Number 5. Avengers: Age of Ultron. Directed by Joss Whedon and released in 2015, had an estimated production budget of around $495 million, including marketing and distribution expenses.
Good?
In terms of box office performance, Avengers: Age of Ultron grossed over $1.4 billion worldwide. While it was a commercial success, it earned slightly less at the box office compared to its predecessor, The Avengers. Nonetheless, it remained one of the highest-grossing films of 2015 and further solidified the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Number 4. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. The movie, directed by J.J. Abrams and released in 2019, had an estimated production budget of around $415 million. This figure accounts for production costs as well as marketing and distribution expenses. In terms of box office performance, Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker grossed over $1.7 billion worldwide. While it was a commercial success, it received mixed reviews from critics and fans, concluding the Skywalker saga but generating divided opinions on its execution. Nonetheless, it remained one of the highest-grossing films of 2019. Number 3. Pirates of the Caribbean: On Stranger Tides. The movie, directed by Rob Marshall and released in 2011, had an estimated production budget of around $410 million. This includes production costs as well as marketing and distribution expenses.
This one has the tear and gives life.
Aye, hurry.
In terms of box office performance, Pirates of the Caribbean: On Stranger Tides grossed approximately $1.4 billion worldwide. Despite receiving mixed reviews from critics and audiences, it was a commercial success and remained one of the highest-grossing films of 2011. Number 2. Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. The movie, directed by J.A. Bayona and released in 2018, had an estimated production budget of around $300 million to $431 million, not including marketing and distribution expenses.
We need to get on that boat.
The rock's good. We're safe on the rock.
Is the boat or the lava, Franklin?
In terms of box office performance, Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide. It was a commercial success, although its critical reception was more mixed compared to its predecessor. Nonetheless, the film's box office performance solidified the continued popularity of the Jurassic Park franchise. Number 1. Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The movie, directed by J.J. Abrams and released in 2015, had an estimated production budget of around $350 million to $447 million, including marketing and distribution costs.
Wait! Traitor!
In terms of box office performance, Star Wars: The Force Awakens grossed over $2.7 billion worldwide, making it one of the highest-grossing films of all time. It was both a critical and commercial success, revitalizing the Star Wars franchise and receiving widespread acclaim from fans and critics alike.